Historic Springfield is elevating business revitalization efforts through neighborhood based entrepreneurship and peer to peer mentoring. I'm joined now to talk about it by Michael Haskins. He's the executive director at SPAR Council. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. We're also joined by Patty Peoples, who is a business advisor and facilitator at Springfield Area Merchants and Business Association. Good morning, Patty.
Good morning.
Nice to have you back.
Thanks.
So, Patty, the last time you were on, we shared along with you some hard lessons that you learned in business. You had a rental property in Springfield, maybe still have, that was occupied by squatters. You're also a business consultant. And so I'm curious, you have learned a lot about business. You've also learned things that can happen to a business person that can be not so terrific. How do you share those lessons as a mentor?
And the experience that I had as a business owner, as an entrepreneur here in Jacksonville, has been really informative in what I bring forth in Samba. When I was building and growing my own business, I partook in peer-to-peer mentoring and a variety of resources that were provided throughout the city of Jacksonville from SCORE, Chamber of Commerce, and private mentoring. And it was transformative for my business. I was able to build, scale, and eventually sell it and retire early. So my personal experience is that business owners that participate in some form of business advising with a peer group absolutely perform better than those that don't. And my personal experience is backed up by research nationwide that shows that business owners that participate in some form of peer-to-peer mentoring are 70% more likely to have a business that survives for 5 years. So when we were envisioning how we wanted to re-energize Samba, the Business Association of Springfield, Michael, the board, and SPAR and I brainstormed that we wanted to bring peer-to-peer mentoring and an expertly curated educational series, as well as to raise the resilience of businesses that were participating in this and make them more able to roll with the punches of changing economic environment and a changing demographic. So that's what we're delivering.
And Michael, it's important for Springfield in creating programs like this. I mean, it is your stated goal at any rate to make sure that you're doing in a way that is inclusive and is recognizing and fostering the existing businesses and residents of Springfield, as opposed to kind of overlaying new businesses that are just kind of parachuting in. And while you want new business, making sure that existing businesses are shepherded and assisted is kind of a big part of what you're doing.
I think that's exactly right. We have a wonderful business community, and we have worked with them for many years, and we have been trying to figure out what can we do to best support them. And we had, for a long time, the feedback had been, let's work on group marketing, let's work on events, let's work on beautification. And I think we've done a good job of being responsive to that feedback through the events that we throw, through the Springfield Cleanup Corps, which helps to beautify the commercial corridors. And we also have been doing grant making for a long time to those businesses to help with their facades. We felt like we were doing a good job there, but we were still seeing that the businesses needed more support. We think of the business community sometimes as in transition. We're transitioning from a community where the businesses did not have enough support to be successful to one where they do. And so what are the new supports that we can provide? And that's when Patty, thankfully, kind of brought some of these ideas to our attention around peer-to-peer mentoring and around the expert speaker series that she's running to give businesses the resources that they need. And we're starting to think of ourselves as a resource hub for Springfield and eventually really growing this into some kind of business incubation for the neighborhood.
And so what is it about peer mentoring, Patty, that is different from, just kind of learning, going to a seminar, getting sort of top-down advice from people? What is it about having a peer relationship that's different?
It's incredibly transformative. So envision that you walk into a room and this peer mentoring is made up of other business owners that have been exactly where you are, or they're currently struggling with a similar issue. small businesses are absolutely the fabric of any community, and it's particularly so here in Jacksonville. And small business ownership is rewarding, but it's incredibly lonely. And there I used to wake up as a small business owner and think, when I was working for in a corporate job, I went to work and I knew how to do 11 out of 12 things I was supposed to do. But as a small business owner, I would say I wake up in the morning and I only know how to do 1 out of 12 things.
Mm.
I went into business because I have a knowledge and a passion, but running a small business requires that you shuffle all of these plates simultaneously, and it's the difference between you making your mortgage and not. So the consequences are very high. So we are meeting these small business owners exactly where they are. We're helping them run a better, smarter business, one that gives them resilience, one that gives them the capacity to recognize trends and to address those challenges in a collaborative way. So you ask how we do it. We every other month we run what's called a mastermind like process, and this is a specific uh, a process where a small business owner brings a real challenge. Maybe they are changing exactly how their hiring is going to be rolled out, and they're looking for a different demographic of workers. And they ask how they might go about that. What are the legal consequences of letting go some of my existing workers? And then we put those problems on the table, and then we go around the table with every other member asking clarifying questions. It might be something like, have you clearly defined the characteristics of the new worker that you want? It's clarifying questions. It's not, hey, I know how you ought to be doing this, but it is helping that business owner to understand what the questions are, then to prioritize those questions, and then to get collaborative advice. I love it at the end of meetings from Samba when we end the meeting and then those business owners are staying around for 15, 20, 30 minutes, sharing resources, problem solving together. So Samba is not just bringing a sip and stroll into the neighborhood and saying, we're going to bring you customers. We're taking a completely different approach and saying, we are going to make you a smarter, better business owner.
What are some of the primary challenges that businesses in Springfield face? And are they different from what other community small businesses face in Jacksonville?
I think they have some similarities, but they have some really unique differences. Springfield is a neighborhood that has undergone an enormous amount of change in the last decade, perhaps two. And in fact, since I've been there the last 7 years, I've seen the demographics change yet again, where it's a much more family oriented environment. And so we also have uh, issues where we are trying to grow smartly, but we are contributing to the diversity of the neighborhood and not losing those beautiful differences that are the quality of our neighborhood. So we are helping these business owners better understand how the demographics are changing, what the needs are. As the neighborhood gets bigger and stronger, we need to attract businesses that deliver the day-to-day needs of our residents. And so Samba, what our goal is, it's lofty. And I believe that we're going to achieve it. We are fortunate to be sponsored by Wells Fargo and Lisk, and we are seeking other ways to deliver these services. But we are meeting these business owners right on the street and working with developers that want to come in and helping them understand this demographic so that they have a partner as they're d- trying to determine where to build and grow in Jacksonville.
Mhm.
We want it to be Springfield.
And Michael, what's your metric of success? I mean, how do you know when this approach is working?
So that's one of the things we've been working on with some of these outside groups that have really helped to contribute to our understanding of how to be a better business association. So we've been working with the Community Foundation, Lisk, and Wells Fargo to develop those metrics and to figure out what works best and how to measure it. We're looking at increased revenue. We're looking at resilience, which is survivability rates over time. And we're also starting to get a little bit more nuanced in the type of data we can collect around things like the number of people that are being employed, how are they being employed part time or full time, and we have a good starting point that we think is going to then lead us in a direction. But we're going to follow the data, so we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We want to start getting that data first, and we really appreciate that we've been given this opportunity to take our time and learn what these businesses need.
And so if your community businesses are interested in participating, like, how do they get involved? Do they have to join Samba? Do they have to join SPAR?
So one of the things I'm really proud of about Spar and Samba as a whole, we are pretty much open to everyone. We do have a membership for our businesses to access certain resources, but any business can come attend a meeting for the first time to check it out and see what resources are available. And we work with the businesses to give them as many resources as we can. Like, with the exception, there are a few grants. The grants, we do ask them to become members, but other than that, we are very open door because we're truly a community organization that wants to support these businesses.
Well, Michael Haskins, Patty Peoples, it's great to see you both again. Thanks so much. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.